Greetings, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your moderator today, Kalen Allen. I'm so thrilled because we are having a conversation with 92nd Street Y. Today, I'm talking to Augustus Prew and Liza Koshy about their new #1 movie on Netflix, Players. How y'all feeling?
Yeah. We're #1 right now. Congratulations
Number
on
one.
#1 on
Guys,
Netflix.
congratulations. How excited? Like, were you expecting it or are you thrilled? How'd you find out?
The script felt like an immediate New York Times bestseller, but I found out through our group chat, and I think you reposted. No,
I
you
think it
reposted
was
on
me. I
Instagram.
think I found out because it was on my Instagram. It's the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning. I was
found
like,
out because I
okay,
was
#1
refreshing.
in the world. Not #1 just US, #1 in the world. That's a new one.
I
That's
kept
fun.
Googling myself, and that's how I found out.
That's another way. You
Yes,
don't have
every
Google
morning I
Alert?
wake up and I Google myself. We all do that, right? Right.
Y'all don't have Google Alerts?
Yeah.
I actually do
I
have
have
Google
my
Alerts, but
Okay, I was
sometimes
about
you gotta
to say.
go a little deeper, you know?
Right. I get it. I see
You
the
gotta be
vision.
really narcissistic.
Like me.
We just doing what we got to do, okay? That's all we doing. Now, I will say I thoroughly enjoyed. I feel like rom-coms have sort of taken a back seat. So it was very refreshing to finally have like a new take on it. And I think specifically from the jump, what I noticed was that, it's almost a modern day dating through a more traditional lens. And it kind of avoids online dating platforms. And given that both of you might have insights into, both digital and traditional dating spheres, how do you or your friends navigate dating in real life? Is there a preference for their approach depicted in the film?
Well, listen.
Liza wants to take that one.
I got it, babes. I got it. Kaylin, you live in New York, right?
Correct.
Do you feel like Players properly depicted the New York dating scene?
Well, see, honey, I'm the bad person to ask because I don't be doing no dating. I don't leave my house. You know what I mean?
I'm out of the game too, okay? But filming this movie has put me back into the streets. I'm about to start playing again, but I'm not playing any games. I live vicariously through our character, but I'm not playing. There's no rule book. There's no playbook for me. There's hopefully just personality, energy for me. So
What
I'm
about
moving
your
to New York.
friend?
I'm moving to New York because of this movie. I'm so serious, Agni. I'm sending you my
Are
spots.
you doing it? You're joining?
I'm extending my stay so I can.
I moved here after this movie.
Oh,
We
really?
did this movie. I had such a great time. I'm moving to New York.
So good.
It's
It was
okay.
such a summer camp of dreams. Like we all had to.
It was like a love fest. It was one of the most joyful, truly zero drama. It was like a summer of bliss. It was just amazing. We had the most fun.
He has no
The
idea.
chemistry was on point from just like day. We didn't even have to. We did. It was like half the movie's improvised. That's just us just making each other laugh.
This was Augie's
like
experience. This was his, but he has no idea that he was actually the drama. So the plot was straight.
Oh, you're the drama.
Oh yeah, if no one's the drama, that means it's you. Yeah. Oh, I just found that out.
No, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Someone's gotta be stir the pot. Yes.
Wait, okay, so was the whole movie shot in New York?
Yes.
Yeah. On location, the whole thing. Wasn't even a studio, was there? No, there's no studio. It was all locations.
All locations. And all like filmed from like 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. Like we had so many night shifts, right? Because New York has to be clear. All the pedestrians that you see in the background are extras. Every moving part is a part of the movie. So yeah, New York, we all did this with the delusional confidence that like comedy requires you to have to be just loose and stupid.
I actually think it's why we're so loopy. Yeah. I think we were so free because most of the stuff shot at 4 a.m. So we were just like, well, I don't even care anymore. It's just like, it was just so, we were just like flowing. It was very flowy.
Director
it was just so collaborative. If someone had a better idea, if someone had a better kind of, hey, that's a funnier bit, let's go with that. It was like so, no egos. It was just like,
I got my ego removed. I got my ego removed. I'm 10 pounds lighter, girl. It's great.
It never grew back.
Ever.
I love that.
It fell off.
Speaking of like the chemistry and the comedy itself, Liza, transitioning from digital to film, I consider you to be one of the best physical comedy actresses, personally. And so I know that usually physical comedy is left for multicam, right? And I, as someone that is also a physical comedy actor, sometimes when you get in front of a single cam or you're doing film, there is hard to find the balance because physical acting is so emotive and all in the face. How do you find the balance in between and making sure to adjust?
First of all, incredible question. Second of all, you gonna kill it at drama because you crack my shit on a daily basis, and so does Augustus Prew. And if you can make me feel that way, you can make me feel the opposite on the other end of the spectrum. You can make me feel that sadness, that relief, that build, that tension break. Like, I know you got it in you, so I cannot wait for your journey too. But thank you for the kindness. That is so sweet to say. I love my physical comedians. I love Melissa McCarthy, the unapologetic nature of throwing yourself out there. I mean, like, I was gonna say Liza Minnelli, even. That's my namesake.
I was gonna say you did that amazing cabaret. When I saw you do that thing the other day, was it for Halloween? I think you got your Liza balls on for Halloween, and
you sounded like the other day, like the other night, like we was role playing and I was Liza Minnelli. That was 2 years ago for Halloween, baby. But yes. But yeah, I love my like big, broad, and that's what Gina does too. I call her Genius Rodriguez. That is her name. And she's just genius. She's big and she's broad, but she's reeled in and she's subtle and she's small. And the nuances, just the flicker of like the loss of hope in her eyes. You can tell just the tiniest shift in thought. And same goes for Augie, same goes for Tom, same goes for Damon. So to be a witness to all of that magic on set and try my best to meet them there was hard for me, but also they came with such supportive energy, and I got to reel in my madness and be subtle in moments and be sweet in moments and be smaller than what my digital audience typically thinks I am. But it is a totally different camera, your iPhone versus your 4K attached to a man's body type beat. It's so different. It's jarring, the difference, but I'm trying my best to, enjoy bringing some broad to it, but also some real and grounded and rooted.
Well, I think you smashed it, Liza. Liza smashed it. Hey, she's actually underplaying the amount of stuff that she wrote on this movie. We had this incredible script, but then, as I say, a lot of the stuff was improvising. But I mean, Liza's phone, between takes, Liza should be sitting there like, Liza, were you texting? And she'd just be like writing alts for everyone, not just for her character. She's like, oh, I've got this idea. Why don't you say something like that? And I can say this. Blah, 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 blah. She is the wittiest, the quicker. It's not just physical comedy. That girl's got a brain on her. She is like, I'm not joking. Half of my one-liners were written by Liza Koshy. I mean, truly, the ones that made it in the movie anyway. But it's,
the ones that got cut were by me. But the blooper reel is amazing. The one that no one will see and they'll never publicize, incredible. That's so sweet to say. No,
100%. And I mean, Gina too. I think what Gina did right at the beginning, I think that I've never seen someone pull off so successfully. I feel like when you're in a comedy, we're not questioning like what's the tone. How broad are we? When are we finding the moments to kind of ground? If it's too broad, you kind of lose it because there's no emotional, toll to it. There's no stakes. But if we're forgetting that we're in a comedy, then all of a sudden it kind of gets bogged down. It slows down. It's not as you got to keep the ball in the air. And I feel like Gina, she's so in flow with herself. The energy is just flawless. She's just like boundless, and she's so clear about what she wants. I truly forgot that she was a producer. I honestly only remembered at the premiere. I was like, oh, right, you were my boss. I totally forgot that. She's just like this. She's incredibly generous, very collaborative, but she's also like, she's an actress who knows when to pick, she knows when to ground the scene. She knows when it's like, okay, this is a pivot point on the plot, for the plotting of the movie. Like this movie, this moment, this emotional beat needs to hit. So everyone, so you kind of just take your lead from her. Don't you think? I felt like she just 100%. Came in like, okay, this is what we need from this scene. Chris C as well facilitates all of this magic. Our director, really, really talented director. I just think the two of them together, it was just very, I think for a lot of the, the ensemble, it's honestly just about reflecting back what they were putting in. Does that make sense? Like she'd show up and be like, this is what we're doing today. It was like, right, okay. And then we all kind of like find our rhythm.
Absolutely.
Like she's the planet that we're all orbiting,
Absolutely. My world revolves around Gina Rodriguez, and I would not
100%.
Way. Honestly, we were social mirroring this beautiful human being. Truly. She set the environment. Very first day, she acknowledged everybody in the field. The first time that we even shot a scene was in a massive field with 400 extras in a park in a hot, murky ass day. And Gina set the tone for that entire zip code. She said, we need every single one of y'all here. We are so grateful you are here. We are so excited for this movie. Like, to watch a woman lead a rom-com where you see this infallible, strong, but flawed, independent, but insecure character that you don't typically see in a rom-com. Like, you might see in more of like a drama, sure. but to have that like real girlfriend that you're watching being reflected in the media is so important. And that's the kind of stories that Gina leads and the kinds of stories that Trish C tells.
That is absolutely beautiful. You know, Augustus, what I really liked about what you were talking about is story structure, especially when it comes to scripts. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you were in the Young Blood Theater Company, correct?
I was.
Right, which is
Oh, Young Blood.
Someone did some research.
which is
Okay.
specifically like tailored towards playwrights, correct?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so how has transitioning to film aligned with your aspirations in that upbringing? But also, what has been the most surprising aspect of working in the American film industry?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
So good at your job, Kalen. So good at your job. Oof. Oof.
So good at your job.
I know, truly.
They're very different cultures. Okay, so to speak to I mean, they're all just lots of different cultures. You know, theatre is its own. Also, so London theatre is its own thing. So sort of like, you know, I was raised in that world. I actually transitioned. I did my first movie when I was 14, when I did About a Boy. And kind of from that point forward, I kind of got sucked into the orbit of film and TV mostly. In terms of the cultural differences between America and the UK, I think at the time when I was growing up in the UK film industry, it was, you know, Harry Potter hadn't happened yet. So it was still very much, it kind of felt a little more like it's kind of a little more of a New York vibe about it. It was more community based. You know, I think the gearing up when I moved to Hollywood was how serious everyone takes it. Americans in general, I think, commit. You know, it's like, just culturally speaking, you're born and you're told, reach for the stars, baby. Like there are no limits. Just go, 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 go. You know, it's that kind of manifest destiny. You know, just like let's make this happen. And again, it's kind of what we were talking about before the camera got turned on. We were talking about class in the UK. You know, the hangover from class is that people are not told to fully express themselves. You know, it's kind of seen as getting ideas above your station. You know, we're still quite stratified by class in the UK, and unfortunately, it holds back the culture. I think because it means people are not able to tap into their full potential. You know, the idea, for instance, what you were saying about Gina coming in and being like, "You're all important." This is that's a very American approach, right? That wouldn't happen in the UK. You just, you know, it'd be like, extras, shut up. Stay in your place. And I think the difference and why America is arguably, when it comes to kind of making, I would argue that more dynamic, because, you know, the ideas are bigger, the flow is bigger, the goal is always bigger. But I think because of that, it's treated less personally. There's less of a sense of community in America. You're only as good as your last movie. It's a little more, there's the ceiling there's no ceiling. Right. But there is also no floor.
Right.
Whereas in the UK, if you make a couple of duds, it's okay, Oggs, don't worry. You know, we still got you. No, we don't. Not in America. We don't forgive them. We ain't got you. You're fucking out of here, baby. Like there's a little. It's just, and I do think do you find that, Liza? Do you ever? I mean, it's like it feels.
Well, I'm enjoying the high right now because we just put out a damn good movie. So
we did. I know. Right now we're. Right now.
You're only good at I might be perfect.
It's a good day.
I don't have.
But you know what I mean? It's like there is a constant sense of like it's a never-ending treadmill in America. You just constantly have to stay up.
It's true. It's hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind.
It's a hustle culture, definitely.
Hustle culture for sure. It's westernized ideas of where your self-worth is. Your self-worth is your net worth. You know, it's that kind of idea, which I hope and pray that we're breaking out of as a brown woman who tries to ground myself every damn day in the Eastern culture that I was raised in. I don't have the experience that Augie does in terms of the contrast of what it's like to work in the UK versus in the States, and what the two different kind of, sense of moralities kind of compare. But it definitely is that. I think in social media too, you see everybody's hyphens. You see everybody doing everything everywhere all at once. And to be so overwhelmed by the many ideas of life that you could lead, it's overwhelming at a lot of points for a lot of people. But I think hopefully we're entering a culture where it's a little, we can celebrate ourselves. We can be more gracious and more compassionate with ourselves and for others too. And leave room for them to make mistakes and be infallible human beings. That's why it's so important for these characters to be portrayed in the media, where we love you, we hate you, we're rooting for you, it's okay, get back up, you're down, that's okay. Like, it just, the layers of human needs to be represented too. So yeah, media plays an important role in this culture.
Well, what I love about that moment is I think we see a little bit in that movie. You know, when I watch any type of movie, I'm always like, okay, I get the funny, I'm laughing, I'm entertained, but what is the deeper message in this? And one of my favorite moments in the movie is closer to the end when Mack is confronting Nick about the writing piece.
The article, yeah.
Yeah, the article. And to the point that we're talking about like this hustle and the fact that we often feel inadequate because we are basing it off of perceptions of people that may not get us and not being able to just accept that everybody's not from us. And I think that's also a bigger lesson in the film, is that some things that you may want is not necessarily what you need. And I think what it proves to us in this dating world is sometimes we are chasing the idea of companionship, but not actually focusing on what is right in front of us that actually gets all of us. So I know, for instance, Augustus, I know you're married, you know, so when it came to finally settling into that and finally finding a love that made you feel like you had found your better half, what were those credentials? What were those things that you needed to feel in order to know that that was the right person for you?
I wanted to find someone who was open and honest about their flaws. I think the issue in the culture that we live in, if we're to speak to your point, you made a really interesting point earlier, Kalen, about there is no social media. Social media is not really, it's kind of like the elephant in the room. But I think the products of social media, the symptoms in our society of social media, that everything is rated. You know, was your Uber 5 stars? It's like, I don't know, it was a cab ride, who cares? Like, why are we rating everything? We've gotten to this thing, you know, everything's been Instagram and it's the most curated, possibly, you know, the highest vision of your life. And so it leads people to, you know, we have this crisis with self-esteem. And I think that's what, you know, this story is about. These characters all suffer from incredibly low self-esteem to the point where they feel like they literally need to become a different person in order to kind of, you know, essentially con someone into loving them. You know, it's like, instead of just, you know, the ultimate goal, I would hope, for this movie, that the takeaway is that authenticity wins the day. You know, the no play is ultimately what you should be aiming for. And I think I'm hoping self-esteem is going to be like vinyl. We're going to be like, oh God, that was so good. Do you remember how good vinyl? You know, it's like, we're going to get back to a thing where it's like, can we be a little more like, cancel culture has been one of the most destructive things that in contemporary culture. Cancel culture has got to go, because it just precludes it precludes growth. You can't grow if you can't make mistakes. And what I loved about this script, and what I love about these characters and this group of friends, and what I love about and why it's important for the world that we live in, is that we've forgotten how to be patient with each other. Growth takes time. It happens by osmosis. You know, it happens from seeing people who you respect and role models and going, wow, I wonder how they did it. I don't know what they've done, but I'm going to explore and figure that out. And it's going to take time. I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. I think what the symptom that this friendship group are showing is that everything has to be perfect all the time. I can get you a holiday to Fiji. You know, that's why the emoji opens. You know, I'm a millionaire and I can take you to Fiji. That level of construction that we have forced on ourselves, you know, everything has to be perfect, everything's glam squatted and made up, and everything is, you know, look at me, I've got a light here to make myself look like I've got cheekbones, I've got a light over here.
Oh, babe, you're beautiful. Stop it. No, that doesn't prove your point. You're gorgeous. Stop.
But my point is, we're in a very constructed reality right now. You know, people have forgotten how to just be, and just be together, and just, like, you know, say silly things, you know. And it's like, I would hope that you know, when it comes to dating, I do think I mean, apps are useful. Yes, apps are great. You know, you meet more people, blah, blah, blah. But everything has become so disposable. And I was reading, there's a really interesting New York Times article the other day about this, a concept that it was invented in the 70s, the word is called limerence, to be in limerence with someone. Actually, I said it. I said it.
Like a parasocial relationship.
But it's a kind of the same principle. Is that you know, if you're in limerence with someone, it's because there's so many options for dating now. It's so overloading because it's so easy to date. It's actually quite hard to date because no one's got any patience. Like, oh no, it didn't work, swipe. No, that didn't work, swipe. No one's okay with just someone putting their foot in their mouth through an accident. Oh, oops, said the wrong thing, or or just like whatever you're
see that.
Right. And it's like there's this idea called limerence where it's a kind of a contemporary phenomena where people are projecting their ideal version of who they think you are, that no one can ever kind of reach. No one can ever be the person that you want them to be. They have to be the person that they are. But as a consequence, this kind of what if, these characters, these exes that you've dated or people in your life that you project onto, everyone is basically, no one's actually really connecting for who they are. They're connecting for the person that you think that person wants you to be. Does that make sense? So it's layers of meta performance. Like even now, right now, I'm looking at a screen, you're looking at a screen, I'm in West Village, you're in Jersey, what I mean? Like everything is like so stratified that we've forgotten how to really connect. And I think the point of this movie, it's people learning how to reconnect. It's people unlearning this kind of very judgmental culture that we've all been socialized in, and it's people relearning how to just connect and how to be flawed. And it turns out that authentic person was just right in front of you the entire time. If only you could have seen it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And because I think when I was watching, I was like, what doesn't make sense to me with these game plans is like you're creating lies.
Right. You're creating an illusion that you're never going to be able to live up to.
And you're lying to not only them, you're lying to yourself. You start believing your own lies, your own story, these own narratives that you're not enough in a certain way. So you have to be something else, that you have to be other in order to be a part of them. And it's not about them. It's about what you want to exude. And it's attracting an energy that is either like-minded or hopefully so, or opposes you in a way that challenges yourself, that promotes growth for yourself, like it's you're creating this facade that leads people in, and then you have to continue living that facade and you lose yourself and you create this identity that isn't yours and you're decades down the line and you have no idea how you got into this situation and how you're disassociated.
It gives me like,
I know, right? Like to be
just thinking about it, it's like, let me be free,
Oh, right. Like, let me loose. And you're just trying to check this box when you don't realize that you're confining yourself to a box of who you are and defining yourself according to somebody else's standards, somebody else's life experience, somebody else's. And we're so exposed to that as a culture now, which is exactly what Augie is saying is copy, paste, copy, paste. This has worked for them. It's going to work for me. It's the same recipe. I want a cake, but they're making a steak. You're going to end up with a steak, girl. You're like, it's not the right, it's not the right way to bake what you want to be who you want. So I get nervous too about like, myself in the dating world. I am not married. I am getting back on the streets and the sheets if someone will let me. And I am nervous and I'm fearful and I want to like own that fear too of being human and wanting to be loved. That is so innate for us. We're just these sweet little creatures that love pretty things and want pretty things and are terrified to admit that. And so to find somebody, I think that's a beautiful relationship advice, to find somebody that's willing to admit and own all of their flaws. Like truly Augie and Jeffrey are just beautiful together, and Gina and her baby boo is beautiful together. Like I just got to witness so many forms of what love can look like by being on set of this movie. Joel and Mia too. Like I got to witness that and see that love and have them,
it was a very coupley set, wasn't it?
Girl was the only single one. I still am.
And Damon as well.
And Damon. It is just me being a player.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. But I got to see all of that, and that those examples, those real life examples are what people are watching in the media and thinking that they should have too. Get into real life after you watch this movie, please. Thank you. But get into real life, go into the dating scene and see what is actually for you and not what's been taught is for you. And lower, I think, in the age of perfectionism, because we see all this vanity, all these bangs, these ain't even mine. That would have been crazy if I ripped it off. It is mine, I swear. But seeing all these like standards in which we're holding ourselves to, or people we're dating to, let's let that line waver a little bit more. Let's let them be human. Let them put the foot in the mouth, other things in the mouth, if that's what you're into. But like, let that person be in flow and be open and make mistakes, and just because they didn't do this or open the door for you, it's a no from me. Like, we don't need to have cutoff culture. Let's have
Don't
community.
test people. Don't
Oh
make it a
yeah.
test.
Don't make it a test. You're
Not
setting
life's not a
them up to
test.
fail. You're
Yeah.
setting them up to fail, honey. Don't.
Right. Right. I think also what you're talking about, what I really enjoyed about the movie is I think sometimes when we think about love, we only think about it as a romantic partnership. But I think what was special about this movie is that we saw a group of friends who some of them knew each other for a long time, some didn't, but there was this common love. And I think sometimes people chase something that they are unable to realize the love that exists within them. And I don't know why we approach dating not the same way that we approach building friendships.
Right.
And because it's
so
like,
true.
if it's like the reason why these friends were able to find so much love in each other was because they knew each other through all the good and the bad. And I think sometimes when we're dating, we focus on only showing the good. We want people to like us and to only be attracted to that. And we just leave that out. What do you think? What are you hoping that when people watch this, and it is a romantic comedy and there is all this comedy, what do you think would be the best takeaways that people should pay attention to? What should they get in between the lines?
That a support system and community is so incredibly important. And that you can, platonic love, I think we really put an emphasis on romantic love and relationships and the other person, the better half, the person that makes me whole, when really it takes a village to live life to the fullest. And you deserve to have so many friends that bring out so many different aspects of you. And that support system is everything while you're looking for that romantic love. But to have that community is crucial. I don't think we put enough, and to platonic love breakups too, they're so painful. I think we need to see more of that in the media too. It's a hard truth of life that I haven't seen portrayed, and it's something we deal with on a daily basis too. I also think like the person that loves you for the hot mess you are. And that's what Damon's character, I'm gonna spoil it. That's what Damon's character in the end.
Yeah, it's just full of spoilers, huh?
They all die.
Should have watched it by now.
Yeah, that's why it's number one. Everybody's seen it.
Everyone else has already seen it now. Get on, hurry up.
But like the hot mess you are is somebody else finds just absolutely perfect and mesmerizing and beautiful and loves the foot in your mouth, like loves that about you, loves that you're willing to be wrong and to learn and to relearn and redefine again, like loves you in all chapters of the book, not just the cover.
Yes.
It's about honesty, which is another word for authenticity, just about seeing yourself. And it can be really hard to see yourself. And I think the beautiful thing about, this movie is that lovely scene where it's like, oh, I mean, Liza, you got a great line where it's like, oh, I'd only worked at the, I saw it in 3 minutes or something.
Oh yeah.
You came to steal some tampons. What is it? You came to steal a 20-pack of 20-year-old. You made it up on the day. It was a Liza line. I know it was. It wasn't in the script. I was like, oh, that's the one they went with.
But it was the moment where you've seen it for decades. You've seen their love.
We'd seen it for decades, and it took you 3 minutes. It's like, but the friends saw it so clearly. And if only they had been, frankly, the friends had been honest, it wouldn't be a movie. But if only, this could have happened. They could have got together already if they'd been honest with each other. If they'd been honest with themselves. But it's like, I feel like the point of life. We're going to get a bit esoteric now. I feel like the point of life is to give the universe back the gifts that it gives you, right? Everyone is unique. Everyone has their own magical powers, and sometimes your uniqueness is like, it can come from a flaw. And I think, your point of life is to sort of unblock yourself, to unblock your essence, right? To find who you are organically. And by the way, it changes, I'm someone who's lived between lots of different cultures. And what I've realized is everyone is just an essence expressed through whatever cultural prism they're living in. So you can, it doesn't matter about culture. You can connect with anyone, because all it is we're all just balls of energy going blah, 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 and getting buzzy. And the more that you can find your authentic spirit, the more that you can unlearn the things that block you from who you are and from who you need to be connecting with, the more you're going to find the people in your life who bring out the most conducive, the most authentic, most honest, the most empowered, elevated version of who you are. And so I think the point of this, the beautiful thing about this movie is, yeah, it's a rom-com, but the romance and the comedy, but the romance in this movie is actually between the friends. It's actually not about who's having sex with who. It's actually they outsource that. The love story here is the friends. It's being seen and reflected back in the people who love you. And I think, again, we're in a very disposable culture. It's like, so it's difficult. There's a lot of lonely people out there. It's difficult to, everyone's traveling around a lot and everyone's separated by a phone and all the timetables. Everyone's so busy. It's overload. It's what's beautiful about this group is that they actually, being on your phone is not really a part of this movie. It's actually about just a group who kind of shun that and just connect and find each other. So it's, I guess the takeaway for me would be that. And there was also this, remember that question the other day? And I hadn't really considered this, but we had a few questions at the press day the other day, and they were talking about, like, isn't it wild that this is like a group of girls and guys, and how radical is that?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we had like 5 questions about how radical like a gendered and ungendered, I should say, group of friends was.
With each other.
Like, I'm a gay guy. I'm a queer person, so I don't find that radical at all. Like I have friends. I have friends from all different genders.
In media, yeah, that idea has been shoved down our throats.
Sexuality, genders, everything. It's just been blown. Like I don't. It's like, it's just not. I don't connect with people on that in that way.
Yes.
So it's so interesting to me when I was hearing those questions, because it's like, and I guess that's like that's a block to unlearn. For instance, it's like, guys can only be friends with guys. I hope not.
No,
girls can only hang out with. I even the fact that was radical to some people is like, that's I don't know. Maybe a little sad, to be honest with you, because it's just like, we shouldn't be limiting. Just like, connect with who you connect with. See the people for who they are, and like learn who sparks joy in you. Let's go Marie Kondo with it. Learn who, you know what I mean. I think that's the takeaway from the movie for me. It's like, find your tribe, find your people, know who you are.
I love that.
The truth shall set you free. It's all true.
How lucky am I that this truth teller right here is my friend, and he brings a sense of relief and peace in me, where my shoulders have gone down an inch lower throughout the course of this conversation. I get to go out with him tonight and have drinks and have more conversation too.
Look at that.
I'm lucky. But honestly, you're so right about like these relationships being portrayed in the media, because we live them in real life, but to see it on screen is incredibly influential and changes culture. It changes storytelling. And same for like me and Gina's characters. We're not 2 women in competition. We're not fighting over the same man. We're not going after the same goals. I immediately jump on gung ho for the bros without even knowing this woman. I'm just a woman for women. I'm just, you want to find love? Cool. I'm gonna help you find it. I'm not gonna go after it. I'm not gonna be jealous of it. I'm gonna be supportive of it. And I'm gonna be a loving, caring, supportive character. And those are the type of women I have in my life. So why is it that I see in the media that they're pit against each other? Whether that's in culture, in film, we see women, there can only be one. There's the rise of one. There's not the 2 that can exist at the same time. So multiples can. Several groups of women can exist. We can all rise together, and we can actually support each other and dust each other's shoulders off at the same time. And that's exactly what Gina does in real life too. So to see her do that as her character and be able to give that back to her is a dream.
We never actually even comment on that. I like how just a fact that is. It's a group. I mean, we don't even call it who's leading the group. No one's leading the group. But if anyone was leading the group, that's a strong, powerful woman right at the center of that. In fact, when you come along, you become the MVP. It's like this is it's a collaborative group, but arguably like the most dynamic people in the group are the 2 women. But it's never actually commented on. It just is. And 2 women of color as well. Even we love, and it's not. It just is. It doesn't. It's like it's. This is just where we need to be headed. These so many conventions that hold us back from really being who we are, and from
Did you realize
finding our potential? You know what I mean?
Nice. And find the people that unlock it with you and want to help you rise, become a step in your life. Did you even think about the moment where like Gina grabs my face and I'm scared for a second, like she's about to like yell at me?
MVP I've been waiting for. I love that moment. It's my favorite parts of the movie.
I love that scene so much. You are so funny. And I just have to give a testament to Augie real quick. I love him as a friend, but as a performer, he is so brilliant, so genius. And he needs to do more comedy if he wants to, if that's what he wants, because the potential is unlocked, honey. You are hilarious in this entire, and you say I wrote lines. I did not. You were just verbal diarrheaing all over the place, and it was hilarious.
I was verbal diarrheaing all over the place. It was fun. It's fun to have freedom.
It's brilliant. And he was so free and fun, and I'm so thankful for it.
Well, I think it translates very well into the film, you know, and I know that people in general have been buzzing about it already. So I want to make sure that I get some social questions in here. Now, specifically this one, a lot of the questions we've already kind of touched on, but this one question I actually do want to, because I thought it was one of the funniest moments in the film, and it's for Liza. The vomit scene, it appeared incredibly realistic. How was the scene executed?
That was because it was real. I was drinking Bacardi and I need a sponsorship and that was such a Gina like delivery.
She's not joking. She really was drinking Bacardi. And frosé.
I was a lot of frosé, Bacardi, just a little bit, just a little tipsy. I went through like 7 cans because we did like a little bit. 7 cans because we did 7 takes, and that one take, I believe I only did it once. Am I misspeaking by saying that? I threw up on myself, and we had one outfit, so I couldn't change into another.
I remember. Didn't we cut before the vomit?
Yes, we kept cutting.
You practiced the thing and like the leap over the picnic.
That's what they used. Was that one take?
Yeah.
All I ended up with was the real.
That's right. That's
vomit.
right. It was the one that you were allowed to vomit, and that's the one that made it in the movie.
Yes. And so I have a full long clip. I might post it if I get permission, and if I don't, I'm gonna do it. But there's one long clip of me rolling around. They were so like supportive. Everybody in the park was letting me grab I was eating this man's dingus. I grabbed his dingus. I ate it. I threw it at him. It landed on his face. Everybody was so sweet and so kind to let me be a fool. And then I grabbed a frosé and I chugged it. I kept it in my mouth, and then I vomited it up my body. So that's how it actually happened.
I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations to you and the entire cast and crew of this incredible movie. I'm so happy for you. I cannot wait. If you have not watched the movie, please tap in right now and go and watch it. Let's keep it at #1. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. Toodaloo.
Thank you, Kalen.
Thanks,
You're such a good job. We love you.
Oh, thank you.
We love you, Kalen. You're great, buddy.
Wow. Thank you.